Robo Advisors. Beat them or join them. The objective on this lesson is to discuss why advisors should embrace the digital advice and explain how firms are using technology, describe how clients use technology, and consider opportunities for the firm of the future. According to studies about individuals these days, it's found that clients are 3.5 times more likely to have an Amazon Prime account than they are a 529 account. And while they've used PayPal, they might not have used an online budgeting tool, and they've played games, but they've never used a retirement calculator. So they're familiar with using technology. They just haven't used it for the purposes that you may want to direct them in the future. So it's a long-term growth opportunity. Remember that while your current client may not be as savvy with a lot of the things that are constantly being introduced every day, the millennials, their heirs, may very well be. Or if your target client base are millennials, think about the way they shop. They're not in the mall, they're on Amazon. They're ordering their food through Uber Eats, or they're doing something with their devices. And a dollar retained is worth more than a dollar brought in. You want to engage multi-generational families. You do need to have some technology options. One of the things that also discourages people, and you may feel this yourself, is that your cluttered emails are just so hard to get through that text messages are faster. So when you're communicating with family or friends, you're texting them, you're not emailing them, and so your clients are doing the same thing. And you can see more clients in a day if you have virtual meetings. So there are opportunities out there if you want to think a little bit forward and ways you can incorporate them into your practice. Now, media use is a daily occurrence, and you want to think about ways like recorded video and social media and your firm's policies on those so that you're compliant, as well as meeting clients where they're most likely to be anyway. Now, more than 2/3 of the U.S. population use smartphones, and every demographic spends at least 24 hours a day online. So you want to focus on areas where you can automate your practice, and then focus on your time instead of the tasks that you can automate on obtaining new clients or spending time with the one you have. So right now, it's estimated that 40% of your time is spent on non-client facing things. Wouldn't it be wonderful if you could spend a little more time with your clients? Now, you may think that your clients are not going to embrace this technology, but it may surprise you. Recent reports show that clients are more and more willing to use robo platforms, and some of it's because of the familiarity that they have now and the fact that they can get quick solutions. They don't have to drive to you and sit with you, and they're beginning to trust more and more the technical advice that they get. You can white label your technology platforms to provide your consistent service model that you've already implemented in non-technical, non-digital areas. So you can carry that over and brand these too. There is a hybrid solution this way to provide human interaction as well as some digital interaction so that the client actually gets to work with you in many ways instead of just one, and consequently sees you more often. And if some of the things are too complex for the digital options that they have, create a way for them to then reach out to you and make it easier. And this works really well with new clients that don't have a lot of assets, but then their situations changes, whether they lose their job, they inherit money, they start a new business or whatever. So when it gets to be more complex, there's a way for them to reach out to you. This is considered a gig economy when so many people are working multiple jobs or they're not really a full-time employee everywhere. And so the workforce is growing in the self-employed sector. And because of that, it makes it more challenging to hold the traditional face-to-face meetings that you may have found worked so well just such a short time ago. And so it's more challenging for you if you don't have some digital solutions that can supplement your face-to-face interactions. Now, these solutions are flooding the marketplace. They're designed to really attract tech-savvy investors and still comply with the DOL mandates for more and more detailed advice and how you know your clients, and that it's not the investment solutions you've offered them are not prompted by how much you can make from them, and so much documentation is now required that this makes a really easy way for you to be compliant. Now, many back offices are struggling to catch up because they didn't plan to implement some of these things. But the perfect storm of the DOL, the fact that there's so many options out there, including the Robo Advice platforms, that more and more advisors are needing to catch up and learn and find ways that some of these can support what they're already doing. And consumers don't care if you're manually using your hand calculator to do these things or whether you have a computer software. They just want the results. They want it quick, they want it fast, and they have a busy life and they want to be able to go back to it. Now, a lot of the things that are out there are financial planning apps, there's trading platforms, there's things to generate proposals, there's reporting, there's data aggregation. People have things in multiple places. So think about the ways that you could support this in your practice. It could be an interactive experience. It's streamlined for clients. It gives you cost efficiencies. And surprisingly, Investment News said recently that 54% of CFP professionals now outsource their portfolio management. So this is a really surprising but great opportunity for you to take advantage of this trend and at least see what your clients are seeing. Because while you may not have embraced that method, your clients are certainly searching those before they visit you. Now, if you look at some of the reasons why investors look for digital advice, cost is a very important reason. And as we've spoken before, if they don't understand the value, they're looking at cost. And again, before they meet you or until you've established and created that value for yourself, they're going to be looking at cost first and foremost. They think their financial situation is straightforward. How often have you heard, I just have one quick question? And of course it's not. So they may not know what they don't know, and they think that their situation is very simple and straightforward. They don't see the value yet that you're offering, and so that's an area of opportunity for you too. That they don't know that a human provides enough services. Again, these are opportunities to attract them with the digital and then impress them with the human value so that you have a combination of both things they're looking for. Some of them are just so used to trusting the data that they get from other digital things that they use in their life that they feel like the human error could be an issue if they trust a human versus trust a computer program. And then, of course, there are ones that have had a bad experience with their prior advisor, and rather than seek out a new advisor, they go straight to the Robo model. Again, this is faster for them. They don't have time to meet with you, so this is an important thing that you make it easy for them to meet with you and at least initiate contact through maybe a digital solution. The platform is convenient for them, and you can incorporate some tools on your website, and then that leads them to a more personalized meeting with you after they've experienced the initial assessment. So there are three really tiers that advisors are considering when they set up their office. The traditional for clients that are not tech savvy, and you know that there are going to be some that just never open their emails and never want online statements and want to sit down with you and tell you about their dogs and their grandchildren. And that's a great model for some technology, but really the primary focus is traditional. And then there's the hybrid solution for their next generation that gives some shortcuts for busy clients. And it will help them identify ways that they can do it themselves. And then, of course, the generation that has grown up using technology, they're used to getting information online. So perhaps a lot of the information you have available on your site, and that's where those customized packets are really great, or blogs or newsletters or things that they can access online and then meet you for the more complex planning. The DOL does favor now the digital solution because of the fact that it tracks things so much easier than an advisor remembering to track things. You've got that footprint that you create every time somebody logs in and gets a solution and gets a response. It helps accounts that would have otherwise been orphaned because there hasn't been enough contact with that person who doesn't think they need to talk to the advisor, and the technology can maintain that contact. And then, of course, there are structured proposals, there's level fees, and it makes it audit friendly as well. So if you haven't already embraced technology, now's the time. You've got to learn the basic terminology. You need to segment your business, understand what client needs when you're designing your firm. Think about the tools that are available. Maybe it's to evaluate the client fears and their thoughts about risk. Maybe it's for aggregating their investments that they're held elsewhere so that when you're planning their financial plan, you have the whole picture. Maybe it's just digital education for pieces that you really think they should know and understand, but you don't want to take meeting time to give them this information, that rather they learn and they will retain it better if they can listen to it multiple times or have a resource they can go back and refer to. So in your traditional model, you have the people that will always want the paper communication. Your advisor-assisted model, that maybe you use a digital platform for planning, and then you step in for the more complex thing. And then you have a wealth management platform that integrates both of them. And then the clients that are looking for the lower cost option that, again, doesn't take as much of the advisor's personal face time with them, has that to assist them in maybe their portfolio construction. It has fee transparency. Again, the focus is on cost when the value is not apparent. So it might be a way to get in the door. Now, some of the things that are out there right now, if you have Alexa, for example, you can now ask financial questions. And so a lot of the basic questions your clients may research in advance. They're already used to doing it. How many times yourself, when you don't know something, you Google it? Those are things that you can use. Well, if they're already there, use it for things like confirming appointments. Use the software to leave messages for clients. Maybe it's to remind them that it's time to take their required minimum distribution, or maybe it's time, don't forget, if you're going to make a contribution to your IRA, you need to do it by. Those kind of things could already reach clients where they already are. More and more, there's tools available that you can implement to identify behaviors that will help you coach them. There's facial recognition software out there. There is even an app for financial literacy that the government is invested heavily in, and it's a game. It's an online game for kids and teens. And it's a free app because the government's invested in it, and people are getting their financial literacy questions answered there. So think about what your firm utilizes. Think about where you might be able to improve, and think about ways that you don't have to beat them, but join them. So in summary, you've learned the reasons why investors consider Robo Advisors. You understand the advantages for your clients and for advisors. You've found ways to integrate digital tools into your firm, and you understand that the future is here.